So Sheila is going to start by giving us a presentation on the immigration updates and changes due to COVID as they are now, bearing in mind that these are changing on a regular basis. She is then going to endeavour to answer the questions that were emailed through. As we received so many, we've tried to cover these as much as possible. If you do have any questions that don't get answered, please feel free to email them through to me and we'll try and get an answer to you. My email address is aorakimigrantcentre@extra.co.nz. I will post that in the chats later. So again, welcome, and I'll now pass you over to Sheila.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'm Sheila. So I will be starting off with the presentation. So I will now be sharing my screen with you. Okay, so Katie, can you see my screen? Okay, good. So at first, I'll be giving you an update on the immigration visa processing. So since lockdown, we have been receiving immigration updates from immigration at least like once a week since lockdown. So luckily, I received one last night. So we have the latest information. So as Katie said, this is, information keeps changing. So this is the latest. It might change in the near future. But anyways, let me discuss it to you. Okay, so first, at the moment, all immigration offshore offices remain closed. Okay, so we have Beijing, India, Philippines, they're still closed, and no news as to when they will open. Okay, at level 4, all onshore offices were closed except for Wellington office, but they were focused on processing only applications related to COVID-19. And then at level 3, 2 weeks ago, the documentation branch, this is the branch where the paper applications are received, has opened. And during this time at level 4 and 3, only few immigration officers were able to work from home simply because they were not ready for remote, online access. Okay, so today we start at level 2. Immigration confirmed that about 70% immigration officers were able to return and work on site. Now, last April, they issued a priority list, but then last night they issued a new one. And today they will be resuming the processing of all temporary and residence visas according to priority. And based on this information, the priority would be onshore application, and the bottom priority would be the offshore applications. For residents, on top of that, there's a priority, which are the applicants with occupational registration, or those applicants with an hourly rate of $51 per hour or more. Are there any changes in regards to visa processing? Well, COVID-19 has negatively affected the job market. We are expecting that they will be more strict in assessing labor market tests. Well, this labor market test is required for essential skills work visa, and it means genuine attempt to recruit New Zealanders before offering the job to a migrant. If you have lodged an application, they might require an update if there are still no available New Zealanders to take the job that has been offered to you. And they will be also checking on the sustainability, whether the company still has the ability to keep trading or keep their business, and will they be able to pay you for the entire duration of the visa. And of course, with all the applications that has not been processed by immigration for like 1 month or 2, we are expecting more delays in the processing of visa applications. And then probably all of you have heard about the epidemic management notice, which is the automatic extension of visas. So all visas that are expiring between 2nd of April and 9th of July have now been automatically extended until 25 of September in 2020. And for those whose visa expired before 2nd of April and were not able to apply for a new one, they will now need to apply for a new visa through Section 61. And Immigration has also announced a short-term variation of visa conditions for essential services. So this variation is for employers who have been providing essential services at level 4 and level 3. So this allows the migrant to have their visa conditions varied. Okay, so for instance, a work visa, a worker can have their visa condition varied to work in any occupation for their current employer. Okay, for any occupation, meaning any job, as long as it is within the same region. A worker can also change employer as long as it is the same occupation as stated on their existing visa and within the same region. And this visa is only valid at level 4, 3, and 6 weeks at level 2. So we are now at level 2. It is only valid until about 24th of June. But this is very useful for essential workers. I have actually have employers this week applied for this one to allow workers to immediately start. And then in regards to the Immigration Amendment COVID-19 Response Bill that has been announced 2 weeks ago. So this bill enables the government to quickly and efficiently manage visa changes during COVID-19. And it's likely that it's going to be a law on 15th of May, 2020, that's tomorrow. And it brings 8 new powers for the minister and will be available for 12 months. Now, why is the bill needed? The bill will enable immigration to deal with visas on classes or group of people instead of individual basis, as the current Immigration Act requires individual application. So they needed this amendment bill so they can manage visas on classes or classes or group of people. And to manage immigration's capacity overload, as you know, prior to lockdown, there is already a big backlog in Immigration New Zealand. For instance, for residents, they have not started working on application that has been lodged in 2019. That's for skilled migrant category. And it is expected that there will be bulk number of regular application plus applications that were from workers that were impacted by COVID-19. At the moment, there are approximately 350,000 temporary visa holders onshore in New Zealand, and about 200,000 are work visa holders that may need to vary their employment visa conditions. About 70,000 are student visa holders, and 55,000 visitor visa holders that may need to have their visas extended since commercial flights out to New Zealand are still not available. So immigration actually has released examples on how they're going to use these powers. So if you will notice, the powers allows immigration to impose, vary, or cancel conditions of classes of temporary visa holders. And one of the example is to relax employment condition. So they might allow workers to be redeployed to a different employer or location. And some other powers will give them the ability to vary or cancel, extend, grant, or to waive regulatory requirements, and to suspend, or revoke. So actually many advisors and migrants are a bit worried about this amendment bill because they might suspend or revoke some of the applications. But then last night, immigration minister assured that they will only suspend suspend offshore applications. There will be no suspension on applications onshore. Okay, and the overall message from immigration is that this amendment bill is supposed to be good for the migrants, and it should not be used to detriment, the migrant community. Okay, so that ends my presentation. So let me stop the share. So Katie, we can now move on to answer the questions.
Okay, so what we're just going to do is go through the questions that were emailed through to us. So the first one, so if people lose their jobs, will work visa conditions loosen to allow staff to find work elsewhere?
Yeah, so as discussed, the amendment bill might allow us, the immigration minister might decide to relax the visa conditions. We are not just sure, how specific. We have no specific information as how this is going to happen. Like they can actually announce that all visa holders will now have open work visas. So, or they can also say that work visa holders do not need to meet the visa conditions, for instance, in 3 months or 6 months. So it could happen. We just have to wait till the minister will give the announcement on how he's going to exercise his powers.
Okay, I'm just thinking, so if not, so if they don't relax those powers, how long after a visa holder becomes unemployed are they legally allowed to stay in the country? Will they need to transfer to a visitor's visa straight away? Or are they able to move to a visitor's visa?
Yeah, I've actually attended few meetings in the last week, and this has been always been us, because under normal condition or before COVID-19, if you are no longer employed, that means that your visa is already void. You are no longer meeting the conditions of your visa since you are unemployed, and under normal condition you are already liable for deportation. However, immigration released a statement that they're not going to undertake compliance action for migrants who are not meeting the conditions of their visa. They are going to give migrants time to look for a job. So you don't need to apply for a visitor visa right away. So those who have been made redundant, the first action that you need to take is immediately find for another employer to support your application. They did not mention until when they're going to let you, look for a job, but they just said it's not in the immediate future. That's their statement. So the faster that you get a new job offer, the safer it would be for you.
Okay. Can an essential skills visa holder look for work and apply for a variation of condition while unemployed?
Yes, you can. Actually, those who are currently unemployed now can find an employer. So for an essential skills work visa, they are usually tied with their employer. So if you can find a job that is the same, which is the same position as the one stated on your visa within the same region, then you can apply for a variation. However, if it's outside the region, then you need to apply for a new visa.
Right. Are the visas of those on partnership of a worker visas affected if the primary partner is no longer employed, or is the initial expiry date still valid regardless?
Okay, the visas of partners and dependent children are linked to the primary applicant. Okay, as I said, if the primary applicant is no longer employed, it means that the visa is no longer valid. So it follows that all that are linked to that visa have the same status as well.
So would they have to, would they be given that 1 month leeway really as well? The expiry
Yeah.
would be void? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's basically the same. So the primary can find, they will be given time to find a job. So it's the same with the partners and children as well. So if there is a chance, like for instance, the primary applicant is no longer employed, but the partner is still employed. And if, for instance, the employer of the partner can support a work visa application, they can swap. The partner can become the primary applicant. Okay, so they can do that as well.
That's
So
good.
we're actually encouraging those who have partners with open visa to get employment with essential skill services. So they usually have job openings, and if they're able to, obtain a job offer, they can apply as the, for an essential skills work visa, and then the partner is not employed can apply for partnership. They will be just swapping. If they can do that, well, that is possible.
Yeah, oh, that's good to know. What information do you know about the new immigration bill? Is that what you covered just before in your slide? Yep, it is.
Yep.
Okay, we've got more about these. So there is a lot of these questions are related to staff at the Hermitage. So there are staff whose visas expire mid-July, so outside of the announced extension dates, who would like to stay longer on a visitor's visa, but they're currently unable to apply for one online. Will this be opening up again, or will these people need to leave the country by their expiry date?
Okay, first, the online application and paper application has remained open. Immigration stopped operating or stopped processing visas, but you can still apply online. We have actually been lodging applications even at level 4. You can still apply. It was never closed. Okay, and for those on a visit visa who cannot live because there's simply no commercial flights, I think this will be covered under the amendment bill, where the minister can extend the expiry again for specific, like he can say all visitors visa who cannot leave the country can be extended from maybe it has already been extended until September. He can extend again up to maybe October or December.
Okay, that's awesome.
So, we're actually hoping next week there will be announcement coming from the minister, and this might be one of them, automatic extension for visitors visa who cannot leave the country.
Oh, that's good to know. So that answers the next question. So the next one, I would like to know if you quit your job, how much time you have to find a new place to make a variation. So that's still that in 1 month, roughly?
We can't really say 1 month because we don't know how long we'll stay on level 2. Yeah. I think while we're still on level, COVID-19 level 2, they will not be going after migrants who are not meeting the conditions of their visa. The last time that we had a meeting with immigration, they hinted that it might be until September, but that's not an official statement from immigration. So,
okay.
Yeah.
What happens to the remaining time on essential skills visas if people lose their job?
Okay, if you lose our job, for instance, we have a work visa who's expiring that is expiring in 2022. If you can find a job, okay, that is the same position that is written on your visa. For instance, it's written there you're a chef, and in Canterbury region, if you can find a job as a chef within the same region, then you can apply for a variation. When you apply for a variation, the expiry date does not change. So if your original visa expires in 2022, then the expiry of the variation would still be 2022. So you can actually use that for variation if you can find the same position within the same region. And we're actually encouraging those who have been unemployed to find jobs that are, having the same position, same location, if possible, so they can just vary the conditions of their visa. Because if it's not the same position, then they need to apply for a new visa.
So the next question you just answered. So the question was, will we be able to do a variation of visa conditions if we've found another job in another sector? So it's not a variation, it's a new visa. Is that right?
Yeah, if it's different sector, meaning it's different job, they need to apply for a new visa.
Okay. Is there any consideration to people who have had a residency application pending for at least 6 months?
No, there's none in the policy that says there's a special consideration for those who have applied for resident visa. You are still required to keep a temporary visa while your resident visa is ongoing.
And if I need to get a whole new visa, will advertising still be necessary, even if there's a residency application pending?
Yeah, if you're applying for essential skills work visa, labor market test is required. So that's the advertisement. So if it's a new visa, advertisement is still required, regardless if you have a residence application, ongoing residence application.
This one is, I'm on an essential skills visa within South Canterbury, and the visa was automatically extended to September as part of the pandemic response. There's been another job offer with a different, starting in December. So it's a different region, but same job, that makes sense. Can they apply for a variation of visa condition? The job is on the regional skill shortage list as opposed to a new visa. And if so, when will I be able to? And when should I start this process?
Okay, so he said that his visa has been extended to September 25. That means that the visa is originally expiring within April to July. When you apply for a variation, as I've mentioned, the expiry date will be retained. Okay, so if it's extended until September, if you apply now for a variation, the expiry date would still be September 25. So it really depends on the special circumstance of the person, if it's still worthwhile to apply for a variation of visa conditions. If it's already, just few months, there's only a few months left on their visa. Now, in regards to jobs that are on the regional skill shortage list, under essential skills work visa, if your job is included in the list of skill shortage list, advertisement is not required. So you can apply without the advertisement. And what else is the question? When can you start the process? You can start at any time. There is a misunderstanding that if your visa has been extended to September 25, they needed to wait until September 25 before they apply. No, you don't need to wait until September 25. You can apply at any time. We're actually encouraging those who have complete documents to just go ahead with their application instead of waiting for September 25.
It's good to know. So I have a partner on a partner visa. Will any changes I make automatically include them, or will we both need to go through the process?
Well, as I've mentioned, partners visa and dependent children visa are linked to the main applicant. So technically speaking, when the main applicant needs to apply for a new visa, they need to apply as well. Although I have seen in the past that immigration has been lenient with such cases, but then again, the visa has been extended until September 25 only. So you basically need to apply a new visa for your family before the expiry date.
Okay, do you know if and when the EOI pool will reopen?
Okay, the EOI, this is expression of interest for skilled migrant category. The EOI submission is open. We actually have been submitting. Okay, it was never closed. You can submit, but there was no selection, so it's just in the pool. So and the selection has been suspended until further notice. So up until now, we have not received any update yet when it will resume, but you can go ahead and submit your EOI application.
Okay, this one's quite continues on for those that I guess. So for those who have an invitation to apply, will the deadline to submit their application and documents be extended, as many of the documentations were unable to be collected due to the lockdown? They should be able to retrieve these now that we're unable to.
Okay, invitation to apply, we are given about 4 months to submit the actual applications for those who have invitation to apply. And so there is a deadline that you need to meet. And up until now, there was no announcement that it will be extended. So even under level 4 and 3, we have actually been submitting applications because of ITAs, invitations to apply, that are expiring. And we have submitted applications that are incomplete because we cannot, obtain the documents like medicals, police certificates, but then the ITA is expiring. And last night, immigration confirmed that they will not be returning the incomplete application. They will still be accepting, but then we still need to provide the missing documents once it's available, as it will not be processed if it's incomplete. So the good news is you can still proceed with application with missing documents, but you need to prepare a letter explaining why you are not able to submit. So you still need to meet the deadline unless immigration will release or announce that you don't need to meet, or there will be an extension under the amendment bill for ITAs. But at the moment, you need to follow the deadline. Regardless if it's, there is actually one advisor who have submitted application that are not originals, because for residents, you need to submit original documents, but it was just impossible to get the original documents. So they just lodged the photocopies and it was, accepted. But then they still need to provide the originals once it's available. So yes, you still need to meet the deadline.
Awesome. So they understand there will be many changes to the terms and conditions for skilled migrant category residency visas after the lockdown. If an EOI application and ITA was granted on the 23rd of January, that is before the lockdown, will the changes affect those applications?
Okay, first, for SMC, there are no change in policy. So it will just be processed as based on the current policy. So there are no changes whatsoever. And if an EOI was granted, so since there are no changes, there will be no effect on the application that you have lodged on the 23rd of January. Yeah.
So The last one that we've got written down is, if I have to leave the country, will this effectively cancel my residency application?
Okay, if you, I think this person lost his job. If you leave the country, it will not be automatically cancelled. It will still proceed because you can actually apply for residence even if you're overseas, if you meet the criteria. Okay, if you meet the 160 points threshold for residence, your application can still proceed. But if you lose your job, it means you're going to lose points. And if it's now less than 160 points, it means you do not anymore meet the criteria. You can actually withdraw the application so that you can refund the money that you have paid. But unless you do not, if you do not withdraw, it will just proceed. They will just decline the application if you no longer meet the criteria.
Awesome. So that's the end of the questions that were sent through. Now, are you willing to answer a few more questions?
Yeah, sure. I think you've missed some questions, or did I miss to include it in the list? There was one question in regards to partnership.
I haven't got those ones, but you go for gold.
Yeah, we've got one question in regards to partnership. I am on a partnership visa valid until 29 September 2021, but got separated. I am the partner, not the main applicant. When I was about to leave the country, the lockdown started and my flight was canceled. Also, my home country closed the border, so there is no flight in the near future. Can I stay legal in the country with this visa? My intention is to leave the country, but at this point, it's just not possible. Okay, so this is in regards to partnership. The partnership, for partnership visas, once the partnership has been broken, the visa is no longer valid. Okay, so can you stay legally in the country? I think you need to inform immigration of the change of your circumstances. And if you think that it will take a while before you can leave the country, you may apply for a visit visa to keep your to continue staying in the country legally, since the partnership visa is no longer valid, since you no longer have relationship with your partner.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any questions that they'd like to ask? You just need to take yourself off mute. So I'm hoping everybody's questions got answered. There's one actually that's come through that I'll just ask you. So I still have a job and visa until 2021, but the lockdown happened while I was taking my holiday outside New Zealand. Now the border is closed, even if you've got a work permit. It's not an essential work. What could be the possible scenario with my visa?
Okay. As I have discussed in regards to priorities, those who are outside New Zealand is the least priority at the moment. And the government has not made any decisions yet on how they're going to handle those workers that were stranded overseas. We have the application for exceptions to the border restriction, but then it's a high threshold. There's a high threshold. Only 20% of the applications has been approved. About 6,000 applied, but I think about a few hundred has been granted. Since if you are not an essential worker, you do not meet the criteria at the moment. The government has not announced just yet what to do with workers who are stranded overseas. What we can do now is just wait for further instruction from the government.
It's really hard because there are quite a few people in that situation that have been contacting me, people who have jobs, who have houses, flats, cars, everything here, but they can't get back in. It's a really, really tricky situation.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I got another one here. So I have a work visa until 2022 and was planning to leave the country with resignation date on the 26th of April. I can't leave the country now as there are no flights available to go home. What should I do?
What's her visa again?
This is
work visa.
Yep, work visa.
Okay, so he intends to leave the country permanently.
Yes, it looks like it. But they've resigned on the 26th of April and they can't leave the country. There's no flights.
Yeah, your situation is similar to those who have been made redundant. So, well, your visa's not yet it has not expired yet. So since you cannot leave the country, I suggest that you just contact immigration to inform them of your situation. But I don't think you need to apply for a new visa since you intend to leave the country as soon as you're able anyway.
Yeah. And another one. So I'm a housekeeper at the Hermitage on an essential skills visa set to end on the 29th of August this year. In order to keep my visa, do I have to get another housekeeping job in South Canterbury? And if I cannot find that job, do I then need to apply for another visa to stay in the country? I'm hoping to move to Timaru and find work there. I'm not sure how many hotels will be open there to take housekeeping positions.
Okay, so your visa is expiring on August 29th.
29th of August.
Yeah, so that means you need to apply for a new visa before your visa expires, unless immigration will announce that they will be extending, visas again. And do you need to get a housekeeping job in South Canterbury? No, you don't need. As long as you find an employer who will be supporting your visa, you can get a job offer anywhere. Only the variation is restricted to within region, variation of visa conditions. But if you're applying for a new job, you can get a job in Auckland or wherever, as long as they will be supporting your visa application.
So if you're at the Hermitage and you're on an essential skills visa and you get made redundant, potentially that will be around June. So there's still a few months to go on that visa. Can you, if you went and tried to get a housekeeping job in Timaru, as doing that role, would it just be a variation and then you'd have to apply for a new one later?
Yeah, you can also do that, but then the expiry date will still remain. Since
Right.
it's within region, yep, you can still apply for a variation or apply for a new visa. So
it's probably better to apply for a new visa straight away.
Yes, but then, as I said, it depends, because some especially those who have not been employed for 1 or 2 months already, like 1 month of work is very important to them, so they still apply for variation. And then the amendment bill, it looks like this will be favorable for those who's going to have a variation of visa conditions. So I hope they will announce something next week, so you can decide whether to just apply for variation or a new visa. But yeah, you have that option. You can either apply for variation or a new visa.
Okay. So since my visa will expire in 2022, can I work in a different region and I'm in a partnership visa?
Partnership visa is an open visa. There's no restriction as to where you can work. You can apply for any employer, any location. It's an open visa for partners. There's no restriction there.
Okay. I'm about to lodge an onshore SMC visa. You mentioned earlier that immigration is looking for those with $51 per hour pay. my current pay is currently above 45 per hour. Will that affect my application?
Will it affect your application? No, but then it will not be a priority. It's just the $51 is just the ranking of priority, what they're going to process first. But the way it will be assessed will still be the same.
Can you please clarify, did you say when applying for a job as the immigration, you are encouraging to be the same job position in the same region to be able to apply for variation to keep your visa? But if you apply for a different job position, you will be obliged to apply for a different visa unless the minister says all visas will be an open visa. So they're currently on an essential skilled visa.
Yes, that's correct. If you still have, a lot of months remaining on your visa, it is basically easier to apply for a variation if you can get a job that is the same position within the same region. But if it's a different position, you need to apply for a new visa.
So if you're moving out of your district and into a new job, it's a new visa.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Okay, I think there's one question here that we did not answer. I can't find it, but it in regards to if, for instance, he cannot find a job, can he apply for a visit visa to, remain in the country? Yes, you can still apply for any other visa. And for those who have funds, you can actually apply for student visa to upskill, well, if you have funds available for studying, and you cannot, for example, find any job at all, you can go ahead and apply for a student visa or short-term study. Just be careful with what kind of, study or course you're going to take. Make sure that it is a course that will get you a job after. So one way to check what jobs are needed now is to go to job sites and see what kind of jobs are they hiring. Well, under the immigration, it's essential workers are critical workers at the moment. So caregivers, health workers. So if you have that fund, you can apply for student visa and study. And there are actually courses which will give you post-study job search work visa. There's one who has asked that job search visa. I just can't find it. Yeah, you can only get a job search work visa if you finish or complete a course that qualifies for a job search work visa.
Okay, I've got another one here. So I'm the housekeeper from the hotel on an essential skills set to end on the 29th of August. I have a boyfriend who is a Kiwi citizen. Is it best for me to apply for a partnership visa with him? We are going to move to Timaru to stay with his family, and I believe it'll be hard for me to find work, especially a housekeeping role, to keep my original visa. Because at the moment, thank you for the help, because at the moment my visa is set to end along with my employment on the 24th of June, so I don't have much time to find work.
Yeah, that's good news, because yes, you can apply for a partnership visa. Just make sure that you have the sufficient evidence. For partnership temporary work visa, immigration is usually looking for evidence that you have lived together for at least 3 months, live together in a genuine and stable relationship. And how are you going to show that you have lived together? They usually ask for letters letters addressed to you and your partner have, in those letters you have the same address. So it shows that you're living together in the same address. And then joint accounts, well, there's a long list of, evidences to show that you are in a genuine and stable relationship. It's actually in the immigration website. If you can just search that, you can find there what kind of documents you can can submit to immigration. But yes, you can apply for a partnership work visa. Okay, so you have no joint accounts, while
But
as
they've got a
no,
tenancy agreement
yeah,
contract.
if you've got tenancy agreement, that would be useful. Just try to find ways to show that you are financially interdependent. So for instance, if you have bills, joint tenancy, joint insurance, something like that, or you being a beneficiary of an insurance or a will. So those are just samples of evidences that you can submit.
Are there any changes for open work visas?
No, you're very lucky to have an open visa, no changes. So you can apply or work for any employer at any location.
And is there a possibility that they can open the visas?
We're hoping they would that they would open the visas. So, but they might, because there are specific sectors that needed work right away, like the horticulture, fruit picking. Since the seasonal workers cannot get in the country, they need workers, and they might open the work visa for specific sector only. Like you can work for this sector. It might they might. So let's wait for that.
So could it be a possibility that, say, you've got 150 staff at the Hermitage being made redundant, that in South Canterbury we've got a lot of seasonal work that rely on migrant workers coming in? If our borders remain closed, we can't get those migrant workers, that they could potentially open the visas to work in seasonal jobs within the South Canterbury district.
Yeah, there is a high possibility. Well,
Awesome.
the minister has reiterated that the amendment bill is supposed to be for the good of the migrant. So, and they needed workers for some sectors, although of course they will be, their immigration will have to balance between protecting employment for New Zealanders and providing workforce for sectors that needed immediate workers. So that might happen for specific sectors.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping to.
Yeah.
Or they can just say it's open visa for everyone. That would be very
That
good.
would be great.
Yeah.
I've got another couple of questions. So going abroad as a resident applicant, if you still earn a similar salary, will you lose the points?
Can you say, where's that?
That's from Joe.
If you're going, if you're going
abroad as a resident, so I think it might be if you've applied for residency, but you leave New Zealand and get a job in a different country and you're paid a high amount, I'm guessing, earn a similar salary to the 51,000 maybe?
Okay.
Maybe.
In regard to a skilled migrant category, this is a points-based application. It's important that you meet the 160 points. You do not need to be employed in New Zealand, since actually there are applicants from overseas that can meet the 160 points. So if you meet the 160 points, then yes, you can still continue with your resident application. It's just that it's difficult to achieve the 160 points without current employment in New Zealand.
Cool. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure where we are. When is the minister's announcement meant to be?
Okay, the law is, the amendment bill is going to be a law tomorrow, but then the announcement could happen next week. Well, he has 1 year to make announcement, and it may start next week or in 2 weeks. We don't really know. Only the minister knows when he's going to make the announcement through special direction. Well, hopefully next week. We're really hoping for that.
I would imagine that it won't be something that they delay, that they'll be needing it to get through pretty quickly, eh?
Yeah, I think so, because the purpose is to prevent, more applications from work visa holders because they're already overloaded with applications, so they needed to act right away. And they said the purpose is to quickly manage large applications, so they need to, decide, make the decisions right away. So hopefully next week, fingers crossed.
Another one, I have a partnership visa. My partner is on an open visa, but I have a supported visa as a primary holder.
That's not so clear. You have a partnership visa and your partner got an open visa. Okay. And so what's the question?
I'm not sure. Ludidi, if you would just like to maybe add a little bit, just what the information that you're wanting to know, you can just flick that through. The other question is, when will immigration take their final decision on visas?
When will final decision on visas? Well, under the current law, they will need to assess individual applications, and at the moment there is no time frame as to when they can complete one specific application. Like if you will go to immigration website, essential skills work visa needs, that they have this time frame released on the website. It takes 1 month, but then we're not sure if they're going to be able to meet that time frame. At the moment, they said there's no time frame, but they will try to process as soon as they can. Well, since the capacity at the moment for onshore is just 70%, so there will be delays in the processing of visas.
Awesome. Right, so I'm the person looking to do the partnership application with the Kiwi partner. They've been together for 6 months with tenancy contracts since February. But there's no shared bank accounts or any bills. They live on staff accommodation with money coming out of the wages for the rent. What other evidence can they supply? Like photos from holidays together, statements from family, friends, co-workers. They both work at the hotel. Sorry for the many questions.
Okay, so it's quite important to provide evidence of living together. If you're gonna have a tenancy agreement, you might want to request a letter from the owner where you're staying, like a testimonial that you have been living together in his place from this date to whatever date.
I think they've got the tenancy. Is there somewhere that they can look on the immigration website to get that information?
Yeah, that you can just, actually it's in the immigration website, the evidences that you can submit.
So you just search under evidence for partnership visas?
Yeah, just search partnership visa evidences.
Awesome. I'll just wait a couple of minutes because I know if you're anything like me, you type quite slowly, you need a few minutes. Okay, so Elisa, there's a message from Theo. So call Nicole for your tenancy agreement to include both names. She can help. Awesome.
Hi, Katie and Pip. It's Pip here.
Hi, Pip.
Hi.
Hey, thanks very much for getting this all underway. I was just wondering whether we want to talk about maybe providing any update as things unfold over the next weeks, or to look at scheduling something else, certainly before the end of June for other people that might have missed it. What do you think?
What about you, Sheila? It's you who's got all the information.
Yeah, we can schedule. Yeah, why not? We can do it again next month.
Would that be good, Pip, if we did another one? What's the date now?
Yeah, it's already 14th.
So maybe 3 weeks' time after the announcement, are you meaning?
Yeah, either after the announcement or closer to the time where people are, thinking pretty seriously about where they go to next. Yeah. And hi to everyone on the group. I'm Pip. I'm down at Unwin Lodge and I'm your civil defence welfare person for this region. So feel free to grab me through the contacts that I've put out through all the various networks as well if you've got more questions. And a few people out there, if you let me know if you want another time to talk to Katie and Sheila as well, that would be really useful. Yeah.
It's nice to put a face to the name.
That's what I thought. I might as well.
I'll talk to Sheila and we'll come up with a date. So is it about the 23rd of June, the end of the wage subsidy?
Yes, that's the date that I had in mind, and I believe whom people, correct me if I'm wrong on the chat, but is that the date that you've got given for your employment as well, I understand? We'll see if anyone comes back, if they get my question.
Yeah, okay. But no, we can definitely look at that. I've just got another question.
Yep, I'll say goodbye then.
Okay, no, that's cool. So if I get another job in Auckland in a different region but the same job, what do they do? Is that just apply for a new visa?
Yeah.
The job is on the shortage list in Canterbury.
Okay. Well, you need to apply for a new visa, and then if it's shortage in Canterbury, you might want to check if it's also shortage in Auckland. The only difference, if it's included in the shortage list, the employer does not need to advertise the position.
Okay. And Pip, the answer to that was they believe the employment ends along with the wage subsidy on the 24th of June. Now, I did note, I've seen somewhere that the Prime Minister under their new budget is extending the wage subsidy. So actually, I don't know if that'll make a difference or not, but I haven't got any details, but it might be worth something looking into.
Yeah, I also, yeah, I heard some of the minister's speech. They're extending the subsidy for specific sectors, like
Right.
yeah, hospitality sector, I think. Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah, awesome. My partner was still in the process of applying for the sponsorship visa. She had sent all the paperwork to immigration, but I was waiting for approval. What can she do right now? Can she withdraw the application because it was for the hermitage, to get the refund, or is it her loss?
Okay, so you want to withdraw?
Well, I think the partner was, she was in the process of applying for the hermitage sponsorship visa. Obviously, with the redundancies now, can she get a refund, or is it just her loss?
Yeah, you need to contact immigration. So at what stage is your application has been processed? If it's not been assessed yet, you might get a refund. So it's good to just contact immigration and check if you can get a refund for that. I'm assuming essential skills work visa.
Awesome. So yes, we will. Thank you so much, Sheila. You're amazing. Sheila, yeah. I really appreciate your help. Again, I'm Katie from the Aotearoa Migrant Centre, and we've been working through PIP. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to either contact her because she's local, or myself down in Timaru. We are here to support you. It is a really hard time for people at the moment. But thank you so much for your time and your questions. Hopefully we've made it clearer. If you do have anything further, just please be in contact. But until then, look after yourselves. And just there's Pip's email has just come up on the comments. So it's, I'm guessing you can all see those, so I don't have to read it out to you. You can all see them. So maybe keep that down. But no, you guys are more than welcome, and it's fantastic that we can provide this advice because it must be very daunting at the moment. But yeah, I think that's us. Have you got anything else you'd like to say, Sheila?
No, well, thanks very much, and I hope it is clearer now on what you can and cannot do. So yeah, hopefully we can do another Zoom meeting.
Thank you for your kind words as well. It's really kind. It's really nice, and we're glad we can help. So that's all. Enjoy your night. Make sure you're under a heat pump or beside a fire because it's a bit cold. But take care, and we'll catch up soon. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.